Book 2, The Visitor. This is a Rachel point of view book. The main sort of animal new morph is a cat. So in the wake of the first book, the gang is still trying to figure out, you know, what do these powers mean for them? Are they gonna actually continue to do anything to try to fight the Yeerks? I mean, their first attempt at the Yeerk pool was kind of an epic fail, and it almost cost them all their lives. So they're not even sure if they're gonna keep fighting. I mean, like, maybe, but maybe not. So in this book, they are still kind of gathering information. They really don't know anything. They don't know what they're doing. But they know that Chapman is a controller, so they decide to try and get close to him through Melissa, Rachel's friend. Rachel goes into their house as a cat twice, and basically spies on him having conversations with Visser 3. Both times the Visser is suspicious of the cat, but the second time he's like, no, this cat is definitely an Andalite. Chapman captures Rachel. He takes her to Visser 3. Luckily, the gang shows up and they're able to free Rachel. This book definitely slows down the action a little bit after the first book, which is, like, fair enough because the first book had a lot of stuff in it. We're sort of getting to know Rachel a little bit. We learn about her family. She has 2 younger sisters, Jordan and Sarah. Her parents are divorced. She lives with her mom. We learn a little bit more about her character, like that she can be quite reckless. Like when she morphs into an elephant in broad daylight on a busy street. She lies to the group twice. She lies about Chapman almost seeing her morphing on the street, and then she lies about the Visser kind of suspecting that she was an Andalite because obviously she should not have gone back into that house. So, you know, Rachel is extremely brave, but at the same time she can be a little bit reckless. This book, the characters are also dealing with like the fallout from the first book in that Tobias is now stuck as a hawk, and so there's like all these like awkward shoot, Tobias is stuck as a hawk moments when they're morphing back from birds and they're like, man, being a human sucks, like, oh, we shouldn't have to go to school tomorrow, and then they're like, Tobias, it's awkward. We have a lot of new morphs in this book, and at one point they actually are like, I wonder how many morphs we can handle. Turns out a lot. Rachel turns into a cat, Rachel turns into a shrew, and Jake turns into a flea. So it's the first insect, so that's kind of groundbreaking. I'm not sure what this mission actually accomplished. I mean, they did destroy a bug fighter, and they stayed alive, which is like #1 goal, honestly. Everything else is just a bonus. But really, this was just sort of about gathering intel. They definitely have like a slightly clearer picture of what the Yeerk invasion looks like. Really, all they learn is that Visser 3 thinks they're Andalites and that he is pissed about them and wants them dead really badly. I think one of the main things that this book does is sort of take this abstract fight against evil alien invaders and make it personal. Like, this fight ahead is gonna require major sacrifices. So they're starting to realize that it could cost them their lives. Each character has to like go down this path of self-discovery and be like, what is my reason for being in this fight? For Rachel, the Yeerks are ruining families. They're making my friend Melissa feel unloved, and they're making my friend Melissa's parents give up everything to protect their daughter. The scene when both of the Chapman parents rebel, the mom's like choking herself, and it's a very powerful scene, very emotional. I teared up a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And not just for Rachel, but for us, giving us more concrete reasons to hate the Yeerks and a deeper understanding of what this invasion means and what fighting against this invasion means. This mission is pretty much a Rachel solo mission. I mean, Jake goes with her the second time, which, by the way, was completely pointless. This book, like I said, has a slower pace, and one of the benefits of that is that we get to have more like lighthearted scenes. Like the scene at the beginning when they're all birds and they steal a guy's gun and a beer. Like, it's fun, they're having a good time. Being an Animorph isn't all death and horror. Marco talks about how he thinks they should have coordinated outfits, and how he hates the Yeerks even more because they're ruining his showbiz career. So I'm having like a pronunciation crisis because I've reread these books a couple times. Like, this is like my 3rd or 4th reread. I've always thought that it was Cadrona, but there's an N in there. It's Kendrona. What? Like, I'm gonna have to shift my entire perception of everything. In this book, we also get to see sort of the beginnings of the kids juggling their like real lives with Animorph lives. Like, they have to delay the mission a few days because they have papers due and Cassie's dad has a birthday party. It's gonna be a big theme in these books. Like, how do you manage saving the world and getting your homework done on time? It's a very common problem. Most of my favorite quotes from this book were funny, but I picked kind of a cheesy one because when I read it, I was like, oh, it's nice. Love is pretty important. It's like wearing a suit of armor. It makes you strong. It's cheesy, but I like it. So those are my thoughts about The Visitor. If you want to keep up with this read-along, subscribe to this channel or follow me on Twitter. The next book is book number 3, The Encounter, and it's a Tobias point of view book. Just a little business. I am planning on including all 4 of the Megamorph books and the 4 Chronicle books as well. I'm planning on reading those in publishing order, which you can find on Wikipedia, but I'm also putting the order in the description and in the about section on this YouTube channel. It won't fit all the books, but you can see for the near future. The first Animorph book that we're going to read is Megamorphs number 1, which is happening in between books 7 and 8.